So do y'all remember a few videos back, just before we went to Florida, Kolin from Michianna Trailer Sales stopped down to do a little emergency surgery on the back of my enclosed trailer. But my trailer wasn't the only one in need of help. The side door blew off Billy's enclosed trailer on our way home from PRI, so we desperately need to get that repaired before it's time to head south for Sick Week at the end of January. Kolin volunteered to tow Billy's trailer back to Elkhart, Indiana to rebuild the door and make repairs to the trailer up at his shop. Well, between then and now, I've discovered other problems with my trailer that also need to be addressed before we leave for Sick Week. So when Kolin messaged me to tell me that Billy's trailer's finished, I asked if I could bring my trailer up and swap them out, since I'll already be headed that direction to go visit the guys at Byepolr in Detroit to check on my Monte Carlo. It was a pretty pleasant trip listening to the Dale Jr. download until I got midway across Indiana on the Indiana Toll Road. That's when I lost sight of the blue skies and got my first real taste of lake effect snow. Now, Kolin brought Billy's stacker trailer down a few weeks ago and said he drove through a couple of whiteouts to get here. And as it turns out, I was going to have to drive through a couple of them on my way back up to Discovery Trailers to drop my trailer off and pick up Billy's double enclosed on my way up to Michigan. And while I'm here, I plan on taking a little plant tour of the shop where they built Billy's trailer. Hey, long time no see.
Yep, good to see you. Glad you made it.
I made it. I went through a couple whiteouts, but I made it.
It's cold. It's a cold one.
Dude, this thing needs some help.
We're here to help.
Now, my trailer has a lot of issues, but the most pressing one at the moment are the rear tie downs. So what you're saying is not only is the wood rotten, but the tie downs weren't really installed correctly to begin with.
I'm not saying that. I ain't saying that.
Okay, we can do it better.
There you go.
There we go. There we go. We can do it better this time. All right, that's good.
I'm not saying it was wrong.
Yeah, I got you.
Basically, there's a metal plate underneath there that should be there,
right,
and it's not there.
So the tie downs are just bolted to the plywood,
yes,
which is why they rip through.
Vintage.
See, I don't know how the hell that's maybe in their standard
I don't know.
way of doing things. I don't know.
Nah, we do them. Nah, you do them here.
It's not how we do it here. No.
I got you. Thankfully, the guys from Discovery Trailer Sales were here today to take inventory of what all I need. Since they build trailers here, they have everything in stock to make the needed repairs on my trailer and get it back ready for me in time for us to go back to Florida in a week or so. So I backed my trailer up right next to Billy's, and Kolin explained to me all the repairs he's made.
So I fully rebuilt this door out of aluminum frame and then new skin and everything, new bar lock instead of the RV latch. It's got new hinges. Yep, so it shouldn't fall off no more.
Well, it'll never blow open again with that bar lock on there.
Exactly. They just had a hole jimmied right here with like a multi-tool or something like that, so it wasn't even real nice, but she's nice now, so
thanks,
she didn't have any issues.
I honestly couldn't be more thankful for Kolin and everything he's done to help us. After he helped me hook my truck to Billy's trailer, we went inside to take a shop tour, where the guys from Discovery Trailers walked me through the process of where they start building frames and explaining the entire process of building custom trailers, which they will build out of either steel or aluminum. We went through step by step the process of building the trailers from the frame up, using only the finest materials. So this is the same exact building Billy's stacker was built in, right here on the same line.
Same line.
Now, when I tell you these guys build fully custom trailers, I mean fully custom trailers. I thought this one was a stacker at first, but it's not. It's built for a very specific purpose, as evidenced by all the E-track on the walls. What in the world is this guy doing with this trailer?
He is a mobile sound guy.
A mobile sound guy?
Puts on big concerts, rolls all the power amps, drum risers.
Really? Because I noticed as I walked past it, I was like, oh my God, those are 10,000 pound axles on this little short, looks like a stacker, but it's not a stacker. I mean, that's just what it looked like to me. But
it's a big boy with a translucent roof, so he's got lighting when they're loading up in the dark at night. All the extra lighting for the exterior at night. So you can see what they're doing.
Custom.
Custom, total custom.
Now, when every trailer that comes down the line is already sold and pre-ordered as a custom trailer, everyone from the salesman to the last guy on the line has to be on the same page. So this is really cool. The order numbers are on the doors, and you got a guy back here in this department building the custom side doors for the trailers that are coming in the shop over there. So this guy and that guy both know kind of what one hand's doing with the other, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
This guy's ahead of this guy, so this guy isn't waiting on the door.
Right.
He's got it built for him to install.
And it's ready to go by the time the trailer gets to this department.
These guys build trailers for almost anything, including side-by-sides. So evidently this side-by-side stuff is getting pretty popular.
Yes, it is. This is our custom UTV escape door.
Yeah, so these guys can back the side-by-side in the back, just like you normally would, but then this side door lifts up like the door on Billy's stacker,
Exactly.
and then you can just open the door on the side-by-side, hop out, and then step right out. You don't have to skivvy down the side of the side-by-side, you know, to get out the back door. That's really cool.
Yeah, you got all the room to maneuver around you need.
This is the door over here. Custom built 2 compression latches. This door will lift up. It's all pre-hung, self-contained,
Wow.
strutted gas struts.
Yeah, that would be really nice and handy for, you know, somebody that's got side-by-side.
Exactly.
Man, that's really cool. I've never seen anything like that. I guess I'm not big into side-by-sides, but if I was...
That would be what you'd want.
It's the ticket.
After my shop tour at Discovery Trailers, it was time for me to get back on the road. My plan for tonight is to drive from Elkhart, Indiana, most of the way up to Detroit and find a hotel room to stay the night. I found a hotel along the route to Detroit, right next to Lake Erie. It was only 8 degrees outside Wednesday morning when I peeled back the curtain to check on the truck and trailer that was parked out front. Now, Bob told me when I bought this truck it needed some new glow plugs. Now, he wasn't lying. My truck was reluctant, but eventually it did start. Oh boy. Well, it's Wednesday morning. I had a really nice stay here at the Tower Place Suites by Marriott. First off, I want to say I called last night to see if they had a room available, and they did. 2, I could understand the person on the phone, and they didn't send me to some stupid call center someplace. That was really nice. 3, they didn't hassle me for my credit card number while I'm driving up the road just trying to find out if there's a room available. 4, the place is spotless. It's clean inside, it smells good. The layout of the room was awesome. The best shower I've ever been in a hotel. 5 stars from the old man. Anyway, now we got the truck running and we're headed to Byepolr, and I'll be seeing the car for the first time since I dropped it off in person. Now, I've seen pictures of it and it looks incredible in pictures, but so does my 55 Chevy. But it don't do it justice when you're standing there and looking at it in person. I know when I walked in to see the 55, it was like I wanted a video, but I wanted to just see it. That's the hard part about YouTube, is when you walk in to see something that belongs to you and you're excited, you just want to experience it and not film it. But I have to film it. I know Joe and the guys at Byepolr are really excited for me to come up and see it for the first time. And well, let's hit the road. Now, Detroit City is unlike any other city you'll find anywhere else in the world. There's no mistaking where you're at. It's very clear no matter where you look, you are definitely in the Motor City.
Cowboy, baby, you know my credits. Don't ask if it's true. I said it, regret it, never. Pimpin' forever. Home more than a free cash lever. So you better never question the clever. I sever whatever, go get her and turn them redder than ever. You better wetter and leave her making them miss me. Cause that's how we do it up in Detroit City. 71 supercharged, big block Hemi. Your elder barge, I'm living more like Lemmy. Benny in the jets is hot, but you ain't never met a motherfucker like Kid Rock. And twisted brown truckers like a loaded gun. We're the band that other bands run from. Doing the backstage boogie is where you'll find me. If you want some of that flash or pass, come back and lay it on me. Baby, you got to lay it on me. Just lay it on me.
Joseph.
Hey, Bill.
What have you done?
Take a look.
Last time I dropped this thing off, it was just the engine, that was it. Nothing else.
Yep.
And I had a full core support. And what else did I have that you've removed?
Pretty much everything. I would say no, it's a total recreation at this point.
Okay, talk to me about this nasty core support you built.
Yeah, so we started, the first thing that we did, I know when we talked in the original video, we were talking about turbo placement first. Before we did that, we needed to get the fundamentals in the engine bay taken care of. So we worked on the core support first, got the radiator mounted, and got a home for the intercooler. So one of the things that we did, I know your main request was obviously you're gonna be driving this thing a lot. So
right.
you wanna keep it tight, quiet, get a lot of airflow going in there, a lot of space, and you want to keep AC. So those were our priorities, to get something that had the design but also had the function here. So we got rid of the whole core support, and as you can see, if you back up a little bit and look through the grill, anybody that's looking through the grill is going to see total core. So you've got the condenser between the radiator and the intercooler, nicely packaged. You've got plenty of room for the Polar fans in there. So we're going to have Delrin bushings between the core support and the radiator, so no vibration, no deflection. It's going to be a really nice driver.
We've kept power steering,
Yep.
kept the air conditioning, and kept the inner fenders, and we can actually get to the spark plugs. I know a lot of people have been mentioning that in the comments, like when you post pictures, oh God, I bet it's going to be terrible to work on.
Yeah, so pictures are tough to kind of describe the whole story. So I know when we originally talked on this, and I think in the first video, if you'll recall, we were talking about the importance of the combination of design and function. Not only that, but serviceability. Again, we've talked this whole time, and as we've been going step by step, I've kind of explained to you, hey, if this thing is trackside, you've only got this clamp to remove, you've only got this to remove, and you can get right to everything. So obviously people see the headers from the top and their first thing is, wow, the packaging is really tight. It's tough to get the scale for this entire engine bay, the size of this engine bay. When you walk around, now Bill, you've seen it for the first time, when you walk around, you see there's actually quite a bit of space. And with the steering shaft that we replaced the factory steering shaft. There's plenty of room to get underneath there with the spark plug tool. Yep.
Tell me about these turbo mounts. This
Sure.
is pretty interesting.
Yep.
Because I told you I wanted to have bull horns, but I wanted to have mufflers.
Sure.
We haven't quite got to the mufflers yet, but there is room for them.
Sure.
And Vibrant's setting some titanium mufflers for it.
Yep. So it's tough to see the downpipe in here, but we've got a titanium downpipe, which coming off the turbine housing, FIS turbos, we've got a pretty short run from the turbine housing to the outer fender, to the bottom valance, which is where your bullhorn starts. So we start with, obviously, with titanium, there's not very many unique mandrel bends, so that's why we usually do so many pie cuts. A lot of times people say, hey, why do you do pie cuts? Well, first of all, I love the design. It shows more fabrication. That's one thing. But a lot of the angles that we're doing, they're not tight 90, they're not 45, they're not loose radius. We're talking unique angles that require, require a pie cut. So you're not going to get a mandrel bend out of a hardness with titanium. So on the downpipe, you've got to start with pie cuts, and then you've got a 9.5-inch section of 4-inch straight, which if you wanted to, which the plan is to take an 8-inch Vibrant titanium muffler that's got a 4-inch diameter, and you can literally, on this short 2-foot downpipe, fit a full muffler in there and act as full exhaust, basically.
Yeah, so I don't want this thing to be like really, really loud.
The turbos themselves are going to act as a little bit of a muffler.
Right.
Solid roller, big cubic inch, 13-to-1 compression. We're going to want to tame it down just a little bit.
Yeah.
But I'm also a little bit interested to see what it sounds like without a muffler, because obviously you've got such a short exhaust. But the nice thing is we packaged everything in there to give you the option.
Yeah.
So.
One thing I am really happy about is the wastegates. The way those are laid out.
Yeah.
That is sick.
Yeah, so the wastegates are some of the last things that we do. We add the accessories, wastegates, blow-off valves, once we've got a little bit of the routing on the hot side. So when we build the headers, set the turbos obviously in place, route the hot side, and then we take a look to see where the wastegates are gonna sit. So obviously there's function and there's design. We wanted to take advantage of some of the design aspects of it to get the wastegates in parallel with the compressors and the turbine housing. Totally unnecessary, but from the front, it creates kind of a layered, stacked angle from side to side that you see wastegate, turbine housing, compressor all in a row.
Yes.
And then you see from the left to right, it looks almost identical. So we put a heavy emphasis on making sure the sight lines on everything are top notch. So
we've got some sick flanges on these turbos. Where'd those come from?
in Metro Detroit, we've got some really talented shops. So good friends of ours at Blain Brothers Racing supplied these billet T4 flanges that they make in-house. The ones that we had were a cast stainless, not nearly as flashy as these. They don't weld as well. The Blain Brothers also supplied our steering knuckles and steering shaft.
Nice.
They have all that stuff in-house. None of this stuff, no matter what, we don't get the materials for our builds in-house. So we rely on a lot of other companies. Obviously, as you know, Vibrant with this one has been huge. Anything we've needed, they've stepped up to the plate. I've called them multiple times and said, hey, I made a mistake on some tubing size that we need. Can I swap out 4-inch for 3.5-inch? They've accommodated the entire time.
They've been wonderful to work with.
They've been awesome to work with. Obviously,
shout out to Cassius and all the guys up there.
Sure.
Up there across the bridge.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So on my badge at PRI, it said I was actually Canadian. I take issue with that. But No,
Well, they may not be Canadian much longer.
Yeah.
That's a big thing right now.
but no, they've been awesome. Their materials are top notch. Their people are top notch, and that's why we want to align with them. Blain Brothers, the same thing. Anytime we need something, they've got their CNC up and going for us, and they send this stuff out next day. So we're very thankful for that.
Well, it's been a great time,
Fun as always.
but it's time for me to head home.
Please get out of here.
Joe, thank you.
Yeah, we love you guys and your family, man. Like, honestly, thank you for the opportunity. Happy to work together, and on to the next one.
So, just so everybody understands, I can't afford this.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can't. I don't know many people that could.
sure.
And what would this turbo kit cost?
Realistically speaking, let me put it this way. The materials alone, once you get into the titanium, the intercooler, the turbos themselves, you're well over $10,000, $12,000 in materials just to get started. When you start talking about 4, 5, 6 weeks of fabrication by the hour, realistically speaking, this is a $30,000 turbo kit, and possibly even a little bit more. So that's something that we don't apologize for.
No, and I don't expect you
Sure,
to.
sure.
Like, we're not trying to put this out there like the old man's got tons of money, because I don't.
What I'm saying
And
is
I'm not trying to make out like you guys do this stuff on the cheap either.
And what I'm saying is, there's a lot of places that run from that. We're actually trying to be known for craftsmanship, and unfortunately, craftsmanship is expensive. So we're not a fit for everybody. We wish we were, but this is what we want to do for a living. And unfortunately, it takes a certain clientele that's going to be able to work with us. But
I could never afford this if it wasn't for you offering to help me.
sure.
And honestly, for Vibrant and everybody else that's come on board to help, there's no way I could afford to do this.
Well, listen,
this is a once in a lifetime thing.
It is, but also listen, like, we both value relationships. At the end of the day, like, this isn't something that you've asked for anything from me. It's something that we've both freely offered. The amount of exposure that the shop is going to get from it is overwhelming. We're not doing it to be famous. We're not doing it to chase clout. Nothing.
This
like
is your
that.
calling card.
This is our calling
This is
card.
what you want to hang your hat
And
on.
at the end of the day, we want to attach it to people that can get it out there. And that's what you're doing for us. So this is a relationship. We're happy to help.
And you guys are kind of typically known as a Ford shop. In fact, you just became a Ford Performance
Yep,
shop.
Yep.
But you guys don't exclusively work on just Fords.
No, in fact, this is one of the other advantages of working with this car is we're trying to break away from that a little bit. Like, we're custom car builders, and at the end of the day, not all custom cars are Fords. So we are trying to break away from that. This is a great introduction to the fact that we can work on just about anything. But at the end of the day, we're building supercars inside of whatever chassis you want to bring us. So that's where we're going.
And something else that I noticed, hanging out with you up here today, of course, I haven't filmed all the, hanging out and all that stuff because I've been busy editing, but the camaraderie, the vibe up here, you've got a really good team, very talented team, very funny team. Like, you guys could have your own reality TV show.
Listen, let me be as clear as I can possibly be. None of this happens without my brothers. They're my family. You know what I mean? I would say kid brothers. They're all
like, we all went out to dinner tonight. We had a great time, all of us, and it's just a really tight-knit group. It reminds me a little bit like the guys at the body shop. I call them the kids at the body shop. Like, they're a great group of people, and they get along great.
Well, the thing that comes with trying to chase excellence when we're doing stuff like this, like, look, we're trying to set ourselves in kind of a top tier of stuff, and I let them know that, hey, along with chasing excellence comes a lot of stress. It comes a lot of burdens. It comes a lot of anxiety. It comes a lot of tension. But we need to step back every now and again and realize just how blessed we are to do this type of stuff. We're building turbo kits and cool Monte Carlos. And these guys have an opportunity to do what they love. And I think when you go hard for one another and you put, excellence up there at the top, both in the way that you treat each other and the product, honestly, the rest of it takes care of itself, in my opinion.
As much as I hated to do it, I had to leave the Monte Carlo in Michigan and start making my way back home. I started headed south down through Detroit and back to the Ohio State line at about 7:30 in the evening. Although I contemplated staying the night in Detroit so that I could get a head start on editing the video, I decided to just go ahead and drive all the way home tonight while the roads are dry so I could stop by my local truck stop and give the truck and trailer a bath. The Iowa 80 truck stop and truck wash is only about 2.5 miles from our house. And after 2 days of driving through snow and salt, my truck and the trailer I'm pulling are in dire need of a date with the wash bay. It just so happens that I pulled in just as the guy that was in the wash bay was supposed to get off work. so I helped him wash the truck and trailer since I felt bad for holding him up. Ain't nobody else dumb enough to wash their truck when it's this cold, so there ain't nobody waiting out there. They said I could leave it in here, so I got a towel out, just dried the truck off real quick, got it cleaned up. Hopefully it won't freeze too bad. I'm just gonna hang out here for a little bit, do a little editing, and let the truck dry out a little bit before I pull it out of here. As they opened the doors on the wash bay, the temperature was actually rising. When I pulled in just after midnight, it was 8 degrees, but when I pulled out at 2 o'clock, it was at a whopping 11. Not exactly a heat wave, but the thermometer is moving in the right direction. I'll take what I can get. At least now the truck and trailer are all cleaned up and ready to hit the road for our trip down to Sick Week if we can get all the cars ready. When I pulled in, both Billy and Tommy were still out in the shop fabricating the turbo kit for Tommy's pickup. They've still got a long ways to go, but they've made a tremendous amount of progress just in the last 7 days. Tommy was considering just taking the truck down there and running it naturally aspirated, but Billy insisted that the truck get a turbo kit before it leaves. It's a great feeling walking in the shop and seeing both your boys working together. It's also a great feeling knowing that my car is pretty much ready to go. All we need to do is load it in the trailer and tie it down. So I went up to the front shop to check on the progress that Tanner's made on putting the engine back in Mark's 55. Well, hell, I thought that thing would be... That's the wrong 55. All right, well, we're back. Good news, bad news, I guess. Billy's 55 still in the shop. Not so good news. Mark's 55 still over there, also not so good news. Mark's 427 is not in Mark's 55. Also not real good news. Also not real good news. That Turbo 400 back there was supposed to go back to Dion while I was gone. Somehow that didn't get done either. So I don't know what's going on here, but tomorrow's a new day. We'll get started and we'll figure out what the heck happened. Well, anyway, what do you think of that Monte Carlo? Isn't that crazy? I'm so thankful for the opportunities that I've been given. And let's just be honest, if it wasn't for everybody that watches this channel and pays attention to my bullshit, I wouldn't be in the position to be able to do these things. You know, a project like that Monte Carlo is highly, highly expensive. And if it wasn't for all the companies that have stepped up to help me, I wouldn't be able to do that car. Obviously, I've got a lot of irons in the fire right now. And, you know, the 55 Chevy project up the body shop, that's a big one. That's a real big one. I've done this to myself, honestly, without realizing I was doing it to myself. But I've got 2 projects coming to completion at about the same time. So one of them's going to have to take precedent over the other. And that's going to be the 55 Chevy. So when the Monte Carlo comes back down here, I think he said he'll have it done in a week or 2. But we're going to be in Florida for a couple of weeks, or at least a week. So when I get back, they should have the Monte Carlo done. I can bring it home. But I've got to get the 55 Chevy of Mark's delivered back to him first. I don't have any room. I don't have anywhere to put it. So that's why I was really hoping to get a head start on this 55, putting Mark's 427 back in it while I was gone. But that didn't happen. So we'll work on that tomorrow. We'll start getting ahead on some things and try to get caught up. But I just want to say thank you to everybody for watching, liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing. Thank you to Vibrant and, of course, you know, Byepolr and everybody there at that shop. And huge thank you to Discovery Trailers and Kolin, because right now I'd be in a real pickle if I didn't have so much help with those trailers. There's just not enough time in a day to get caught up and do everything that we need to do, plus video and edit and upload, and it's just a lot. And I'm very grateful that we've got so many people that are just willing to go out of their way to help us, and I'm thankful that we're able to help them as well and get their names out there, because we've got so many really good relationships with so many really good people. We're just so blessed. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy the people that we are surrounded with, and the talent and their abilities, and the fact that they work so hard to help us. We're very thankful to everybody. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and hop off here, guys. Oh, I did buy that Biscayne. That'll come up in the next video. I got some more details there. The Biscayne's headed to Sick Week, but not in my trailer, and I'm not driving it. Disco Dean, you may know him as Stinky Pinky. He just started a YouTube channel. And Jimmy Dale kind of floated the idea when Jimmy found out that I bought the Biscayne. He's like, dude, you should have Stinky Pinky take it to Florida. He's going down there anyway. I'm like, hell, I don't care. I didn't know if Dean would even be interested in that, but evidently Dean started a YouTube channel and he'd like to collaborate a little bit to help get some subscribers and get some traction in his YouTube channel. And Dean lives here in Ohio. He's down around where does he live? Fairborn, not Dearborn. I've been in Michigan too much. He lives down near Fairborn, near Dayton. And so I told him, I said, I don't care, go ahead. So Dean's going to go ahead and pick the car up from Rick down in Circleville, and then he's hauling it to Florida, and he's going to take it down there and test it, and he and his wife's going to take it on Sick Week. So pretty excited about that. That's going to be fun. If you know Dean, he's a character. he's like another Jimmy Dale, but maybe a little bit wilder. So we'll see how that goes. We're really looking forward to going to Sick Week. So thankful for the opportunities and thankful for everybody that watches, likes, shares, subscribes, all that. Thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. I really appreciate it. We'll see you in the next video.